Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Chris coming at you with another episode to the Beautiful Struggle podcast. This is episode number 79, where we talk about entrepreneurship, business, and personal development all in one podcast. If that sounds like something that's interesting to you, you want to tune into, we drop a new episode consistently every single Monday of the week. So start your week off right. Start your week off with some positivity. Tune into the Beautiful Struggle podcast. We're doing some amazing things on here. We're giving out amazing value to the audience. And most of all, man, I'm enjoying this journey. I'm enjoying this process of creating this content and giving it out to the world. If you guys can also do me a huge favor, this is for the loyal listeners out there, for the people that have been listening for a long time. If you have not done so already, if you can please refer this episode to one other person that needs to hear this episode or that needs to tune into the Beautiful Struggle podcast, get them tapped in, send this episode over to them. We're available on all platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Pandora, we're everywhere. So feel free to share this episode with them. We're gonna jump in it. We're gonna jump into it today. I would say the last 20, even 30 episodes, we've had different guests on the podcast. Like I said, if you've been a loyal listener, you know some of the amazing guests that we've had on. It's been truly remarkable. And like I said, I've been enjoying this journey so much. I've been enjoying coming on here, talking to you guys, interviewing different people. And it makes me happy when, I get messages like, hey, that episode was amazing. Man, that guest had so much valuable information to give to us. And that makes me happy. It makes me want to keep going and keep doing the podcast and whatnot. So most of the time we do have guests on the podcast sharing their story, and don't worry, we're going to continue to have them on. But from time to time, I love to come on here and share kind of what I'm going through, share what I've been learning in this process, because I think it's really important to not only have these guests on and to hear their story and, I guess be entertained in a way, but to get this information and apply it to our own lives. Because what use we would be wasting our time and the guest time if we're not applying the information that they're giving out. So I definitely wanted to come on here, take a break from the guests, kind of share what I've been learning within the last, like I said, 30 episodes. It's crazy to think about. But I wanted to share what I've been learning. If you're watching on YouTube, I have my notes right here so I don't go off track. But yeah, like I said, shout out to all the guests that have been on the Beautiful Struggle podcast and all the guests that are going to eventually be on the podcast as well. We're going to keep going strong. It's going to be an amazing ride, man. I'm excited. I'm super excited for this. So with that being said, recently I was on another podcast myself, kind of sharing my story, sharing my perspective on entrepreneurship. Shout out to the House Rules podcast. I was recently on their podcast, and again, we were talking about entrepreneurship. I was speaking with a young group of entrepreneurs that are actually professional stock traders. And as we were talking and having our conversation, pretty much all of them brought up and said, they've lost thousands of dollars in the stock market. Like they invested a couple $1,000s, they would lose it. And they would turn around and say, you know what, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to put more money in there and I'm going to try it again. I need to learn this. They were like absolutely relentless about learning the stock market and learning how to do it professionally. So this really intrigued me. And this was one of the first points I wanted to bring up and it's really relatable to all my previous guests. If you hear their stories, one of the things that's consistent with all these entrepreneurs is number one, they don't allow fear to hold them back. They don't allow fear to hold them back. Everybody, I would say most of all people are going to have some type of level of fear when entering something new, when jumping into the stock market, into a new business, or, launching a brand. There's going to be some type of fear there. But what's been consistent, if you listen to these entrepreneurs, and even the ones that I have not had on the podcast, they don't allow fear to hold them back. They overcome these fears that they may have, whether it's fear of failing, fear of looking stupid on social media, fear of losing all their money, losing thousands of dollars. That's a huge fear. Losing a fear of, I've had people on the podcast that are married, fear of losing their family, losing their health, not having control over their health. There's a lot of fear there, but again, what's common with these entrepreneurs is they don't allow the fear to hold them back. They overcome that fear. And like I said, most people, we all have some level of fear when we go into something. And it's typically because a couple of reasons. It could be because you're uncomfortable and you're about to enter something that's new for you and you've never done it before. Maybe nobody around you has done it either. So of course, there's going to be a level of fear and uncertainty there. You can also have a little bit of fear if you're simply not prepared. If you think about back in the days when you would do public speaking and you would give speeches and whatnot in school, of course there was going to be some fear when you got in front of the classroom and you started speaking, but just imagine how much more fear you would have if you were not prepared, if you didn't take the time to practice, say your speech over multiple times. I know for myself in college, the more I would practice something, the speeches, whatever the case is, the more prepared I would be and resulting in the more confident I would be. So if you look at some of these entrepreneurs, some of the ways that they overcome these fears is simply by being more prepared. Obviously, when you're going into things that are brand new, you can only prepare so much, right? I'm not a father, but I can only imagine, when you're about to have a child, there's classes you have to take. There's different things you have to educate yourself about. You probably want to surround yourself with other, great parents as well to learn from them. But that's only going to give you a certain level of preparation for what's about to come. But I say all that to say is like one of the most common things that we see with all these entrepreneurs is, again, they don't allow fear to hold themselves back. So definitely ask yourself, if you're in a situation where you want to do something, if you want to, launch something, launch a podcast, again, a brand or something, ask yourself, what's really holding yourself back from simply doing it, right? I had a young lady on recently, Monica, and we were talking about overcoming fear, and it's like, man, what's going to happen? Are you going to die? Like, is what you're about to do, is it going to result in you dying? Most likely not. So why not go ahead and try it? We hear that song by Drake, YOLO. No matter how overplayed it is or how old the song is, let's be honest, you only live once. He's right. You only live once. So why not just go out there and try it? Why not give it a try? For me, all the failures that I've had in my life, I don't see them as failures. I simply see them as lessons learned. It's simply a stepping stone into the right direction, stepping stone into learning and being where I'm supposed to be at. That's all it is. So number one, they don't allow fear to hold them back. All right, so we're going to move along to the second point. Again, this podcast episode is not going to be the typical 45 minutes, an hour long. It's going to be a little bit shorter. I wanted to bring you guys some practical advice that you can apply to your life and maybe some questions that you can start asking yourself so you can start getting yourself in the right direction. The second most common point that I see with all these entrepreneurs is they are not afraid to invest in themselves. Whether it's a coach, whether it's investing in books, ebooks, whether it's investing in a mentor, courses, these people are not afraid to invest in themselves. And it don't even have to be that. It can be your health. Like I had shout out to Akeem Pierre. I'm shouting out everybody on this podcast. Akeem Pierre, you watch his episode. He invests his everything into his health and his health and wellness. And he's definitely not afraid to do that. He's not afraid to spend that money because he knows the quality of what he's doing is going to help him live a more healthier life and a more fulfilling life. So again, these people are not afraid to invest in themselves. And you know what's the craziest thing about investing in yourself is I've noticed some of the most successful people spend the most on investing in themselves, which is crazy to think about because you think like, okay, you're already successful as it is. What more do you need to invest in? Like, what more do you need to add to who you are? Like, you're already there. But these people understand that they understand the value of investing in themselves. So, I mean, you hear people like LeBron James that I think he invests over $2 million a year into his health and wellness, into his conditioning, into his fitness and whatnot, into his diet, which is absolutely insane. I had somebody on the podcast who hired a coach for his team, for his company, that cost over $70,000 just to come in for a couple of hours, coach them up and give them, information on how to be more successful in their industry. Like I said, these people understand the value in investing in themselves, and it's really crazy. Can you invest in yourself for free? Absolutely. You can obviously go get you one of these books, for super cheap. You can go on YouTube and, get your degree at YouTube University and whatnot. But there's levels to information. There's levels to growth. And you have to ask yourself, in what area of my life do I need to invest more in, right? After every point, I want you guys to ask yourself these questions. Where do I need to invest more time, more money, more resources in what area of my life? Is it my health? Do I need to invest in better quality food? Do I need to invest in a fitness trainer? Huge shout out to my wife. She took the leap of faith to invest more into her health. She hired a personal trainer to help her work out and whatnot and get her on track. And shout out to her. She's been doing an amazing job. She looks amazing. And I can tell she's a lot more confident. What areas of your life do you feel like you need to invest in? Do you feel like is it your pockets? Is it your bank account? Do you want to learn how to invest in the stock market or, real estate or something like that, crypto? Where do you want to invest in yourself at? Do you want to learn more about something? You want to be more educated about a certain subject? Go ahead and ask yourself that question. Take that step and don't be afraid to invest yourself, because this is what all the successful entrepreneurs are doing. This is what they're doing consistently, and they're forever investing in themselves no matter what. Okay, just to recap before we go into the third and final point. Number one, we had these people, they don't allow fear to hold them back. Number two, they are not afraid to invest in themselves. And number three, environment is everything. Everything from what you listen to, who's around you, has a massive impact and will have a massive impact on who you will become. I can't stress this, and I've talked about this multiple times on the podcast. Your environment is absolutely everything. Again, everything from what you listen to, what you put into your ears, what you watch, what you consume, everything, even what you speak, it's all adding up to who you will become. And if you don't have the right people around you, if you don't have the right resources, if you're not even listening to the right things, it's going to greatly impact your mental state, and it's going to impact who you are as a person. I know for me personally, we can just talk about me for a second. I've grown so much within the last year simply because I've surrounded myself with more positive people, more people that are like-minded, more people that are striving for their goals and are doing amazing things in their industry. And it's really motivated me to want to shoot after bigger goals, shoot after things that I thought I would never think I'd try to be doing. But, you surround yourself with these type of people. It's only going to elevate you. It's only going to lift you up higher. If you think about it, if you're running a race, and you're running against a bunch of average people. The people that you're running against are a bunch of average people, no disrespect, and you're winning the race every single time, you're only as good as everybody else. So if everybody else is average, then you're just a little bit above average. But if you're in a race and you're around people that are phenomenal athletes that are just killing it, breaking records, and you're coming in last, you're coming in last, but that's only going to strive you to want to become better and to want to run faster and want to break these records with these other amazing athletes. So environment is everything. I can keep harping on this all day. One of the last things I wanted to bring up, a recent guest spoke to me about David Wong-Kay. He told me, and this relates to environment, as knowing your goals and writing down your goals consistently. He told me that you should be writing down your goals every single day. And I was like, every single day? And he's like, yes, every single day. We come up with goals at the beginning of the year for a New Year's resolution. Maybe we do monthly goals. Maybe we do weekly goals, which is all amazing, which is great. I agree. I totally agree with weekly goals and monthly goals. But it's another level to write out your goals every single day. I mean, I literally, if you're watching on YouTube, I have sticky notes, like a stack of sticky notes right here from the beginning of the year, and they're all the same goals, same exact goals. I've been writing them down, the same 6 goals, writing the same ones down and trying to etching it in my mind, instilling it in my mind that these are the goals that I want to reach. I'm trying to create the environment for me to reach the goals that I want to obtain. And man, it's just, again, environment is everything. I can keep going on and on about environment and each one of these points, but again, ask yourself, how can you improve your environment? What are some of the things that you can add or take away from your environment to help you think more clear, help you think more positive, help you take away some of those negative thoughts that you have? But what area in your life can you improve your environment? It can be something as simple as literally decluttering your area and your space where you work at. A lot of us are working from home. Having a cleaner, a more concise space will help you with having a better environment. Maybe it's on Instagram. Maybe it's on following those 30 accounts that make you feel some type of jealousy or envy or some type of negative thoughts. Maybe it's transitioning from, hey, I'm not going to listen to this dark, hip hop music or whatever type of music, this negative music. Let me put something more positive on. Let me put a good podcast on. Let me throw the Beautiful Struggle podcast on, where I'm going to learn something and I'm going to grow as I'm working or as I'm working out. What are some areas in your life that you can improve your environment? Again, the top 3 things that I've learned from these previous entrepreneurs on the podcast. Number 1, these people don't allow fear to hold themselves back. Number 2, they're not afraid to invest in themselves. Number 3, and the final one, is your environment is everything. Get around positive people, get around positive things, get around things that are going to help you push yourself to the next level. And that's it for this podcast, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing me to come on here by myself and share, my thoughts and rant a little bit. We're definitely going to have more guests on in the following weeks. We're going to get back on schedule. Again, if you guys can share this episode with one other person that needs to hear this podcast, go ahead and do that. And man, I love y'all. With that being said, it's your boy Chris, and I catch you guys next week. Peace.